menu in Spoke. Now, this is a gallery I've created, and it's to show off different demos, different bits of work. So I've got things about motion, got things about movement, got things about presence. So I want this screen over here to be interactive in some way. Now, bear in mind this is a lo-fi prototype, really, so it's more indicative of interactive screens going forward. It's going to be a bit clunky, but that's actually okay. It's just trying to get proof of concept going. So over here in Adobe XD, I've created the elements. So I've created my buttons, I've got a background, and I've gone through and I have exported them. So either the artboard or individual buttons, like so. File, export, selected. Each software will have its own way of working. You do you. So I've now got these outside, and then I have uploaded them into my assets. You'll see them here. There's the background, the presence, navigation, movement. And then I've just placed them on the wall there to make it really clear that these really have been placed. You can see that I've put the buttons sticking out a bit. I'm actually going to put them back slightly. I think they're a bit too proud at the moment. So real quick way, if I use my cursor, it goes quite big jumps of 0.5. So I'm actually going to do small increments, just like so, appearing and then out. So 0.2 works just fine. Can it be 0.1? 3, there we are. So they are now on the board doing its thing. Images are interesting in Spoke because if you click on an image, you've got the image URL, which is there, and that's fine. But you've also got a thing called link, href. When control is selected, it means you can click on the link and go to a URL. That means you can go to other rooms. So you can put the scene URL in there and go to a different world. That's fine. Now, there's a trick in Spoke, which is, if I click on here, I've put a waypoint. And it can be occupied, it's clickable, it's on the floor plane, it's doing all the things I want to do, and it's got a name called movement. Okay, that's very important. And when you arrive there at that spawn point, you can see movement. I've got one for design, one for presence, so I'll just click around and you see I've got presence over here. So I want to be able to go from my navigation to one of these waypoints. Okay, nice and simple, no problem there. Except it doesn't work the way you think it might. If I click on design and I put hashtag design, that will not take me to that waypoint. It'll do nothing actually, just end up clicking doing nothing. If I had a different room called design, I can put the scene URL, it will take me to that room, that's fine, but it won't take me internally. Maybe when you're watching this video, Hubs will have had an update and you can now do this. But at the moment, you've got to navigate around the space, you've got to use links. So a link is just here, so I'm going to pop the link in here, rotate it by 90 degrees round, put out, it's 0.3, and the scale I'm going to go to is going to be 0.5. That's going to be completely fine. I might actually make it a bit smaller, about 0.2. And zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing a bit clearer. And move it up to pretty much in line with design. And then move it, no, I'll leave it there. That should be good. I'm going to copy this link, so duplicate. Why do I duplicate? Because I can just use that slider on the wipe to pop it down. There we go. So now I've got my links. I can go bottom right, the URL for that link is hashtag design. The next one is going to be hashtag movement. Next one is hashtag navigation. And the bottom one is hashtag presence. Nice and simple. I'm going to turn controls off for the bottom three. I will turn it off for everyone very soon. but I'll leave the top one design on just to show you what doesn't work. So there I have. I've got my basic base run. Let's publish. I'm going to run through our normal update process. We'll know that it's going to be a large file because everything's a large file in Spoke. Hopefully, Hubs will upgrade soon where you can have larger models, but for now, you know, having a 9 megabyte file is a lot. So let's go and view the scene. Create a room with the scene. A second to load. You'll find that when you're developing Spoke, you spend a lot of time with loading the screens, where you're trying something, saving, uploading, going to that scene, all that stuff. Okay, so join this room, accept. Okay, straight away, one thing you'll notice is that the position of my buttons isn't quite right. It's exactly the same distance as the screen. So I'm just going to go back and edit that. So I've got my links and I've got my images. So that's a nice little group. So I'm going to take this as 0.35, so 0.25, just slightly this way, not really trying to make it stand out too much. So let's just republish that. As you see, a lot of time in Spoke is spent waiting for upload screens. It's useful if you, when you're building anything, you're in a room with very good Wi-Fi. That will really help everything. Oh, by the way, when I said you can click on an image and go to a scene, that top URL is the one that you want. So put that URL picture and you're fine. And you can start teleporting between rooms. Really fantastic. So I'm going to join the room. You'll notice from the side that the buttons are now looking fine. Now, you'll notice that those links to the right, which are clickable, they all got the same image. It's the snapshots image you have for this room. Can't customize it, just a limitation Spoke at the moment. But if I click on presence, nothing happens. Click on the link, into presence. Go home, got design, click on link, nothing happens. Click on design, I'm over here at design. So I'm going to just go back and correct that, remove controls for that one. You'll see that go back to the main room. That would be a home button somewhere. Maybe each room should have a home button that takes you to a waypoint, this menu. That'd be quite a good idea. I might do that next. So one link doesn't work, it's broken for navigation. So I'm going to have a look at why that is happening. So my navigation image, Navigatation, that's spelled okay. How have I spelt it in Hubs? I've spelt it movement, that's why. I've used the wrong word. Now, how to get around that? You know what? Emotion, movement, design, presence. What have I done here? I've put navigation rather than emotion. That is a rookie error. So I'm going to have to go into XD, change the button text and re-import this. It really isn't a big issue. Actually, I'll show you how to do it now to show you how easy that is. Double click here. Emotion. Select my item. File. Export selected. And that's going to pop out as a PNG into space here, to my desktop. Go to my assets, images, upload. Second. Desktop. Called rectangle 1. That's okay, we can live with rectangle 1. Hey, I didn't group it. There we are. Now that can be exported selection. I'll call this motion this time. When you're working fast, life is good. But I've now got a spare blank button, so I can work on that. I'm trying to show you that we're not perfect. So there we have a motion, and because I modified a button back there, I can just right-click this, copy URL, go to navigation. There's the image URL to the right, delete that, paste in my new one, so one uploaded, and there we are. We've got a piece. Change this to hashtag emotion, which works well with the guy we've got here. And we should be set to go. So let's just republish the scene. And this should be good. Now, one thing you could do is you could make multiple versions of this route, this scene. One for emotion, one for design, one for navigation, presence. And for motion, actually, you name this. So that when you click on the actual image, you could load a whole new room where the spawn point's in front of that text. So rather than moving around this room, you're moving between worlds. That's a bit of a clunky way of doing it because you will have a screen fade and then open up again. Or maybe you just have a lobby area where the rooms aren't connected anyway, so you aren't jumping between whole worlds. That'd be really good for, what would that be good for? That'd be really good for if your room, if your large room is hitting the limits of spoke. I should see in a second, our room actually is okay. We're getting into the medium problems. It's not a problem now, but if I keep adding content and adding images, spoke will start going, oh, this is red, this is too big. So maybe I'd have to move into that lobby scene. You'd enter that, and then you click on design, and then you go to a design room, where it's just design. And when the home button takes you back to that lobby one. So you split everything out into small instances. All right, so let's troubleshoot this one. Why is it still broken? Have I done a spelling mistake? This is find out. This is really developing on the fly. Because I didn't change that hashtag. There we are. One of the good things about this is that because Spoke is very simple to use and relatively fast, if something's not working, going through the process to make it work is actually quite fast. You'll see me doing this, I'm making some mistakes, I'm going and correcting it, and I'm doing it in a few minutes. I don't have to get the code perfect. We all working on different things different times. If it doesn't work first, it's a learning experience. That's all it is. Sometimes you'll find things are broken because external website's gone down. Okay, here we go. It's now working. I know it's working because we see the scene preview. So if I click on emotion, hey, instantly we're at the emotion. I need a home button. I really need a home button. And I think the home button should be right beneath the text. So when I click on movement, there should be a home button right beneath movement. You'll see that movement needs to come out a little bit as well. So the last thing I want to show you is what I said about moving between worlds. So this here is a link which goes to a different scene, which is Student Hub. That could be a picture. That could be a photograph. So I just clicked on that, and I'm now spawning into a new scene. So if I did this for each room, you can see there is a lag whilst that scene loads. The bigger the file, the longer it takes to load. You might have to do that just to get around Spoke's limitations, but it is something which generally should be okay. But here we are. We are here in the world. I'm looking around, and I'm going to demo using a image, the very last part. So this is my lecture theatre, where I can be on stage over here, and I can present my work on a screen, which you can't see, but it is there. And the students can all occupy spaces over there. I'm going to just teleport down here. Okay. Here's my teleportation booth. Teleport demos. That is an image. That's not a link, that's an image. You'll see that when it's an image, I can dictate what the person's seeing. It's not just the loading view, it's actually something I like. Sign point, I've also got some audio, so when you come near here, you hear this grandiose sound. Let's jump into the scene. We're going to be back in our demo room. There we are. Because this room uses much smaller file sizes, that transition between is much faster. But hey, that's how to create a whole load of teleportation navigation within Spoke.